Good YouTube. Quinn Wade coming to y'all with that play-in analysis on YouTube, exclusively on there forever. We're going to talk about the last two teams in the play-in for the Western Conference, and that's the Golden State Warriors playing against the Phoenix Suns, the battle for the eighth spot to face the Oklahoma City Thunder, the best team in the NBA. Let's just go ahead and get right into it. Let's talk about Phoenix first because they are the eighth seed already. They got to get beat by the Warriors to get it or keep it. So Grayson Allen, these are the guys that's going to have to really step up for the Phoenix Suns to keep up with the Warriors. You need Grayson Allen, you need Royce O'Neal, and you obviously need Jordan Goodwin and even Colin Gillespie and those guys to make threes. And they're going to have to space the floor out. Obviously, Porzingis is there, so he's going to try to protect the rim. Draymond, can block shots and get steals. And you're going to have to get those perimeter shots to fall. So those guys going to have to be ready to shoot. They're going to have to be ready to pass, and they're going to have to be ready to possibly drive if it's needed in those situations, depending on what Warriors is out there and how they're defending those guys. Obviously, you want to see Jalen Green take over the game if he can. He can put up big numbers, the mid range, the drives, the threes, and the fact that he can use his speed and quickness to collapse the defense. And you look at Dylan Brooks. He's a guy that you can get 20 out of him. He can defend a little bit. He's going to try to hit those threes and keep the ball moving. If he don't have it, he might take advantage of a matchup and get some shots to fall or get some guys in foul trouble. He might even get in foul trouble himself, which is a problem because you need him on the court as much as you can. And he's one of your better isolation scorers too this year, even though he hasn't been as efficient sometimes too. And then you look at the bigs, Mark Williams and Oso Iguodala. They're mobile, they're fast. They're going to have to be able to defend the paint and also defend the three-point shot because Al Horford, Porzingis, and even if you look at Quentin Post can all space and shoot as bigs, and that helps Curry and them get better looks and more opportunity to drop the ball off to a guy that can dunk or shoot. And then you got guys that can make jump shots on a team anyway if they're wide open. So you really have to be paying attention if you're a big, and you do have to worry about covering ground also. And then you look at guys like Ryan Dunn and Amir Coffey and Kobe. You might not even see them play a lot or at all in this game. Same with Bouye. He's a guy that was in their rotation in the regular season. If he does play, it'd be a couple minutes. I don't really see those guys really getting on the floor that much in this game because the stakes are so high. They played so well all season. They have a above 500 record. They went through so much adversity. You don't want all of that to go away in one game or two games. But at the end of the day, you have to look at it like this. We have to make sure Devin Booker is getting good looks. We have to surround him the right way. We got to move without the basketball if we can. We know he can hit the mid range. We know he can get to the basket. We know he can possibly make threes if he's off ball and get his own if it's that case too. They need him to step up and clutch. If Devin Booker, Jalen Green, and of course Dylan Brooks, they gonna have to play big in the fourth. They're gonna have to be ready to make those tough ones. They're gonna have to be ready to make the passes and the plays that can lead to a big win over Golden State. We know Golden State can do it, and we know that they're capable of it, but they're gonna have to step up and really be ready for those moments. And that's what you live for. That's what you want, and that's why you play the game. And that's what it's going to take from them to win. They're going to have to defend. They're going to have to be switchable. They're going to have to be aggressive. They're going to have to make big shots. And they got to be willing to find a guy when they can instead of holding on to the ball too long. You also got to look at Rasheer Flemings. He might not play much either or at all in this particular game. Same with C.J. Huntley. I'm just going to name the guys because they made the roster. And then Isaiah Livers and Kaman Malawach, those guys, they're young. They still want some time, but I don't think it'll happen because this game means a lot to the Suns and what they were trying to accomplish the entire season. other than that, you look at the Golden State Warriors and you say they was in a heck of a battle, and so was Phoenix. They know how draining it can be to be in those moments, to be trying to win those type of games, and especially when you short of a star. But Porzingis, he's going to have to be consistent. He's going to have to give you that same 3 point shooting. He's going to have to rebound. He's going to have to block. He's going to have to be able to make some mid ranges if it's open. Quinn Post, is he going to play? Do they need him? That's going to be a question that we're going to have to see, because a team like Phoenix, you do want to draw as many bigs out the paint as you can. So guys like Brendan Przemski and Gary Payton can get to the paint. We know that Gary Payton likes to get the cuts. You know, he likes to drive. You know, he likes to move to get open for the three. And Podzimski likes to do the same if he can, or he likes to score with the ball in his hand, but it's better when ain't nobody in the paint that can stop him or get in his way. And you look at guys like Santos, he's the same. He likes to catch and go quick and try to make quick shots off the backboard or near the rim. And he's going to have to try to make a couple threes if he can. That will help if he will be able to. And then Al Horford, you know, he can shoot the mid range, he can shoot the three, he can score in the post. He has size, he has a good body, he's still a solid defender. They're going to need him to bring all those things in this one as well. And then DeAnthony Melton, you just want him to make some threes, make some mid ranges, get to the basket, to the free throw line, and defend at a switchable high level if it's possible. And it depends on how many minutes he's going to play and how many opportunities he's going to get. In this one, we don't really know. We just know he's an important part of their rotation. And then you have Leones and LJ Cryer, Seth Curry, Charles Bassey. You also have guys like Will Richard, Pat Spencer, and Nate Williams and Umir, that they're not going to be bad players. If they're available, you know what they can do. You know they can make a difference. They have proved that throughout the season. If it's a matchup they like, or a guy gets in foul trouble, or a guy needs rest, or a guy gets banged up a little bit, at least you know they can come in and play a role and contribute at a high level. And then you look at Steph and Draymond, they just know how to play the game at a high level. You know, Draymond going to be looking for guys to be open. He's going to be trying to make the open looks if he can, and just try to make the right play on both ends of the court. And then Steph, if he has to step up and close the game, we know he can do it. If he has to make the play by drawing all the attention and finding his teammates and trusting that they can make the right play or the shot, we know he can do that, and that's something that he has proven throughout his entire career. And that would be something that we'll want to see him do again against another quality opponent. Phoenix, they just gonna have to really bring it. You know, they sometimes they can give up opportunities. Sometimes they can get, you know, a little lost out there. Sometimes, you know, their best creators can go a little cold, or they're not as efficient as they need to be against teams like Golden State that can get fire and get hot and make a couple of shots, and they can get a little bit behind. Then they got to find themselves again and try to be able to make another run before the game is over. Sometimes that run can be helpful and get them to win. Sometimes teams just step on their neck and say it ain't happening. You ain't doing that against us. And I can see the Warriors doing it. They can get up and they can make shots, and they can move, and they can do it on their own sometimes too. And if that's what they have to do to be able to win this game, they have enough talent still. They have veterans that have been far in the playoffs and have won championships, and they know how to impact the game defensively and make things tough, make things difficult. They know how to get the steals and the blocks in the clutch moments. They know how to step on that up on that end, and they also know how to score at a high level when they're open, or they know how to get open too. So if you're not paying attention, you're not locked in and focused on these guys, the Warriors can really make you pay. They can really hurt you. They can really make you second guess what you're doing. And it's just because they're that in tune with each other. They have good synergy and good chemistry with each other. And they always say strength in numbers. Everybody is a part of the team. Everybody knows what their role is. Everybody knows what they should be doing. And we're going to beat y'all together. And we're going to beat it doing us. So that's going to be something that they're going to have to do. They're going to have fun with in this game, while also taking the Suns very serious, because I like the Suns. I like the things they have done. I like how they have played. I like how they have been, you know, a team that we thought would underachieve, and they showing that is we're a real team. We're a real deal. You can't really take us for granted. You can't really beat us that easy. we're going to be feisty. We're going to put up, a great performance, and we're going to make you have to earn it. And it's going to be hard for you to do that. Even Portland only beat them by 4. So it wasn't easy for them to even close them out and get that one. So if I had to pick a team that's going to win this game to be able to go against the Thunder, I'm going with Golden State. I feel like it's a cool pick because I like the fact that they got guys that's more battle tested. I like the fact that they got guys that just knows how to get the job done no matter how hard and how difficult and how frustrating it can be. They're gonna stay, Steve Kerr. He's gonna make sure these guys are accountable. He's gonna make sure these guys are doing what's needed. He's gonna make the adjustments and the changes when those opportunities arise. And then on top of that, they got Steph. Steph is gonna be the best player in this game. And if his shot is on, he's going to be a problem because he can do it any quarter. He can even get hot and carry the team by himself if it's needed sometimes throughout the game. And I don't really know if I can say that about the Suns. They got players that can really get their shots and they can really be off and on with their jumpers and their scoring. And the Warriors have had games where they have looked like they couldn't do much, but they also had games where they can do anything. And, one thing I would say about the Suns, though, they is a team that if you let them get in your head and if you miss them out, you miss them a couple times, they can hit you with them threes. They space the floor really, really good. They break you sometimes. Man, I barely missed that. Man, I closed out too fast. Man, I was late. And if you do that, Mark Williams or also will be in the room finishing it, or even Milo Watch, but he might not play. But that's an example. Or you will see somebody like Colin Gillespie, Grayson Allen, Devin Booker, Dylan Brooks, sometimes even Jalen Green. They'll get open. Next thing you know, they dunking, they laying it up, or they shooting a three. And you just had a 6-point lead. Now it's only 2. So they can be just as potent offensively, but I just like the Warriors more defensively. I like their camaraderie. I like what they try to do each and every game as a team. And I just feel like they should be able to get this one over the Suns just because I feel like they'd be a little bit more prepared, a little bit more ready. And I feel like they'll just be able to step up when it matters in the fourths to be able to close out a team like the Suns, whether that's offensively or defensively. I like them just a little bit more on both ends than I do the Suns. So I'm picking Golden State Warriors to be the 8th seed. They had to battle back. They had to go through a lot. Obviously, you're the 10th, so it's harder for you to get in. But all I can say is we'll see what happens, and we'll see if they can get it. And it ain't gonna be easy. It ain't gonna be given to them, and they know it. They gotta break an arm for it. They will, and they have done it, time and time again. And we have counted them out, or we have overlooked them. But I'm gonna give them credit. They should be able to get this one. I was already wrong. I thought the Clippers would get the Warriors, but I think the Clippers was a little bit better to me than the Suns lately. And I think the Warriors should be able to get them. If they can get the Clippers, they should be able to get the Suns. I know sometimes that don't always work. Sometimes that logic don't always go the way you think it will. But you have to have some reasonings to make these videos and get your opinion for based on what you've seen and based on what you know for how they played and how they look on paper and who's healthy and who's available. So I'm giving you the best analysis I can, even though I'm blindfolded a little bit because we haven't seen these teams play against each other healthy. And on top of that, Jimmy is out too. And on top of that, this is just a completely different roster with Porzingis, and he's a different player that teams not really prepared for because the Warriors never had a guy like him before in their starting lineup and on their team. And also, they got a little bit healthier before the season was over, and so did the Suns. And so, it should be a clash of 2 good teams and 2 good leaders, and Devin Booker and Steph going head to head and toe to toe to carry their teams to the playoffs. And we'll see who does it. Other than that, comment, like, subscribe, share. Hit that notification bell to get that analysis when it first come out. Y'all stay blessed up. Y'all stay good. Peace. And I'll see y'all later today, hopefully with more analysis.